Hello everybody, this video is simply a product review. It's my personal review of Knitter's Pride Royale needles. It's from their luxury collection. I believe this is one of their newer products. It is a circular needle and it swivels 360 degrees on the cords. This particular one is a 32-inch one, and it's US size 8 needle. I really like the swivel cords. They handle fabulously. I was very pleased with that. I like the cord. It's not too flimsy and it's not too stiff. I'm quite happy with it. I don't think you'd have any problems using it for magic loop knitting at all. I think it would work very well. As I said, this is a size 8, and I've noticed that each one of their needles in the various sizes are indeed colored differently. One of the nice things is that while they do have the size marked here on the wooden part of the needle, and these are birchwood needles, that wears off quickly with use of knitting. But they did, right here you'll see, etch into these, and you can't feel the etching, so it's totally smooth, the size of the needle. So that is really nice to have, and it's easy to see because it's plenty large. I wear contacts, and I also do a reading glass over top of them, and I don't have any problems seeing them. I have two dislikes about these needles. One is, if you look here, is that right here is a hole. And for those of you who use interchangeable needles, you'll recognize this hole as being one of the same holes that is on the base of interchangeable needles, where you put the key pin in to tighten your cable cord to your interchangeable needle. This particular hole, there's one on each of the needle tips, and is what I'm finding is that while I'm knitting, the tip of my needle tends to find that hole, and it catches in it. And while it doesn't prevent me from knitting, it's irritating. And there's little things seem to bother me, and that is maybe something to no other knitter, but for me, I find it very irritating. The other item is that when they designed this cord, while I love the swivel, I mean, this needle just turns freely around on this cable, and that's wonderful. What I don't like is this base, and the reason being is that it's too blunt. I find that when I'm knitting my item, and I do have something on these particular cables, my stitches tend to get stuck in this area, and I have to stop, and I have to push the stitches up over this area here, and I don't like that. It slows down my knitting. Not only that, but it's aggravating. You're having to constantly stop and adjust your stitches, and that's not my idea of a good knit. I think that could be corrected if the manufacturer and the company would do a product redesign and simply redesign this tip here to where it had a hole in the end of it, to where it could be utilized as the base of the needle, interchangeable needle, to hold the cable, instead of using this one. And with the tapering of this tip, I do believe that it would eliminate the issue of your knit stitches getting hung up in this area and having to stop and push them up over the hump. So that is my two complaints. These are birchwood needles. I like the feel of them. I will say, if you're wanting a slick needle for speed knitting, this is not a slick needle. This needle is a good everyday knitting, but it's not for speed. It's not slick. Your stitches go over it slowly. If you're a beginner knitter, or you're a knitter that has problems with constantly losing your stitches off your needles, them falling off because of the slickness, you're not going to find that problem with this needle because of it being not a slick needle. Like I said, you'll never get speed out of knitting with these needles. You will get, nice, neat stitches, but the speed is not going to be there because these are not a slick needle. They are smooth, but they're not slick. That is my comments for this. I contacted Knitter's Pride and I let them know about my comments, and I'm passing these comments on to each of you because as knitters, we do invest money into our tools of the trade. Most of us knit for the joy of knitting and to give gifts. Some of us are fortunate enough to actually make some money off of the items that we knit. There's very few of us that can actually do that. I'm in the first group. I do it as a hobby and to give as gifts. But this needle, I paid retail at my local yarn store $12.50 plus sales tax. For many, that seems like nothing in price, but there's others that live on fixed incomes, and you save up to buy those needles that you've been just drooling over and wanting so badly, and then you get home with them and find them, and you see these issues, and you're like, oh no, I really, really have wanted those needles, and now I've spent this money, and I'm not happy with their performance like I thought I would be. Um, so I'm hoping that Knitter's Pride will come across and see this tutorial or this commentary that I have, and they will take note of it, and they will make some redesigns of the product. I hope for any of you that are looking at purchasing these needles, you will take this into consideration. They're a nice needle. They could be better, and it wouldn't take much to make them a better needle, and it wouldn't cost more money to make them a better needle. So I know from looking at prices of Knitter Pride's Royal Collection, when you look at it in a set, they're very expensive. They're not. It's not cheap. To me, if I'm paying $109 to $160 for a set of needles, that's a lot of money for me. For some, it's nothing but a sneeze, but for many of us, that's a lot of money. I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, my Knit Picks Options interchangeable needles are far superior needle to knit with, comparing it to this Knitter's Pride Royal 360 swivel cord needle at this point in time. So, heads up, ladies and gentlemen who also knit, and I hope this commentary was helpful to you all. Bye.